Hi there, this is Alfie Whattam, London tech recruiter and the host of the London Tech podcast. Today I'm joined by Mahesh. Thanks for joining us. Could you start by just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Alfie, for having me on the podcast. Great to be here. I'm the CTO of Scrum Connect. It's a medium-sized tech consultancy firm, and we operate predominantly in the public sector space. And we are an award-winning tech consultancy firm being recognized for the work we have been delivering across numerous public sector clients. I joined Scrum Connect late November last year. I joined as a principal tech lead, and I recently took over as the CTO in June. It's been a fabulous ride so far, and I'm enjoying myself. So the idea is for me to help build Scrum Connect, really get strong in the digital delivery space. That's the ambition there.
Awesome. All right, good stuff. So you're a CTO, you've been in the industry for a while. What advice do you have for IT graduates that are just starting their careers?
Sure. So actually, I've had a fairly conventional career in terms of people, a person operating in the IT space. So just to recap my journey, I came to the UK in '99. That makes me sound very old, but that's when I came over. I finished my schooling in India. I came over to the UK in '99 to do my undergrad degree in Northumbria University in Newcastle. And then I went on to do my master's as well. But what was interesting was during my 6 years of undergraduate and postgraduate studies, I had the opportunity to do two internships. One was with Hewlett Packard in Bristol and one with Sun Labs in California. What this allowed me to do was not only was I able to gain the learnings as being part of the university curriculum, but also put them into practice. That was a very, very essential learning opportunity that I had, that whatever I learned in university, I was able to apply it in a real life project situation, which is when you tend to understand that whatever you learn doesn't necessarily apply practically. So you have to adapt, you have to tweak your style of working, you have to tweak your understanding of concepts. And these two internship opportunities played a very vital role in my growth, especially as I started to venture more into the IT space. And soon after I finished my master's, I went and worked as a research associate at Cardiff University for 3 years. It was a very interesting project where we were combining health with informatics. We were trying to understand how we could apply technology principles in the health space to help better diagnose issues with diabetic patients. And then my career took a turn and I started going into the professional services landscape. My first opportunity was with Deloitte. I joined as a graduate analyst there. I worked with them for nearly 8 years. And during that period, I did a lot of work delivering digital delivery projects. And my expertise or background is predominantly in the Java space. And I was working, delivering consumer-facing applications, large-scale digital transformation projects, so on and so forth. And during the course of my time at Deloitte, I also started dabbling in Android mobile space. And by the time I left Deloitte, I was their Android practice lead. And it was a natural progression for me with my Java background to venture into the Android space, given the same language in use there. And it also gave me a perspective of how the same application fits in a variety of landscapes. Once I left Deloitte, I moved on to a company called Ant Digital. They are a really fast-growing, again, professional services firm. They've grown exponentially in the last few years. And when I joined, it was a small firm of 50, 60 people. I joined as their squad lead, where I had management responsibilities of people right from analyst grade all the way up to like senior tech leads and functional leads. And this was a very essential component of my growth cycle, where I not only was a hands-on in my client-facing delivery roles, but I also had the opportunity to adapt my soft skills, enhance my soft skills, and work in that space. And late last year, as I said, I joined Scrum Connect. But what's important in this, as a graduate, computer science is a very, very interesting field to work in, especially because it doesn't require a formal qualification to be in that space. Unlike civil engineering, chemical engineering, where unless you have a degree, you cannot practice or you cannot work in those areas. Computer science, pretty much anyone, like right from a child who is 6 years or upwards, they engage, they work with the computer, they know the ins and outs of it. So they have a level of a proficiency that you would not expect people to have in other fields. So by the time you graduate, or you can be an English literature graduate, you can be a history person, doesn't matter. But you always have a level of proficiency in the computer field that allows you to easily venture in. What that also means that it makes it a very highly competitive field. There is no distinction between a person having a computer science background to one not having it, because they can still engage at the same level and deliver projects. So from a graduate who's trying to enter this field, I would say focus on gaining as much practical experience as possible, be it in terms of internships, side projects. Also, try and identify mentors in those fields who you can easily engage with. This is one of the best advices I can provide for people trying to enter the computer science domain. It's true for any field, but especially in the computer science field where a lot of learning is informal, having those kind of mentors will provide you with the guidance at the right place and time, helping you make sure that you're not looking at 100 different things, focusing your attention, so on and so forth.
Awesome. That's great advice. And I loved the story along the way to get to the lessons. That was brilliant. So if we were to look into the future, Mahesh, are there any technologies which get you excited, which you think will have a big impact on the future ahead?
Like I don't want to look very long term. That's not my kind of thing. I want to look at the here and now. A lot of the times you start working on a project, you build a fabulous prototype, and what next? It's of no value having that prototype just sitting on a developer's laptop. It's about getting it out into the market or getting it out to users so you can get real-time feedback. How do you engage in that journey whereby the process of the stuff sitting on a developer's laptop can appear in a production space? The entire automation sphere needs to be looked at. Again, there are so many companies that does this very well, but there are so many companies that stumbles upon in this very space. Like having the ability to deploy or release code on like every hour, every day, every week in a very, very frequent manner. That's very important. There's also like interesting things happening again in the intersection of health and informatics space. There is again very interesting stuff happening when you're integrating physical versus virtual. There are so many areas, but ultimately you need to have a fundamental level of understanding of the basic concepts in computer science. So I would say learn some programming language, understand how networking works, what are the various operating systems in use, how do you knock up a simple website. You start from scratch. We can look at all these stuff, like there is big data, there is machine learning, there is fabulous stuff happening in that space. But to get to that point, you need to understand and you need to gain experience and expertise in the very fundamentals that will allow you to then progress to that part.
Awesome. Well said. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, Mahesh, to get your ideas and insights. Sure. Thank you very much. And thank you to everybody for watching as well.
Yep. Thank you for having me here.